Hi, this is Crystal Hardison from Southeastern Livingston Center. I'm the director, and you are listening to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Local Leaders, the podcast. And look, if you're not awake yet, after we're done with this podcast, you're going to be awake because we're going to talk all about one of my favorite topics. And y'all, you see, I got this bag right here. This is actually a Bloody Angola blend, and it is by a local business. And y'all know we love local businesses around here. How about our French? Shout out to French Settlement, first of all. Shout out. We got a gentleman here who owns French Settlement Roasting Company. So before we go any further, I want to welcome William Lagrange to Local Leaders Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
We're fired up to have you here.
Good
and I'm wide awake and wired on your coffee right now.
You and me both.
So this will be an interesting podcast to say the least. But, when I said your name, William Lagrange, some people that might click with some people out there in the audio world and the video world. You owned a local business, or your family owned a business called Lagrange's, correct? Right. Yeah.
It was started inside a bowling put right here on Range, and then it went to Cockrum.
Yeah.
Lagrange's Cafe.
I remember, loved that place. Very good food over there. And I would imagine, being that was a business that you were involved in and saw kind of the day-to-day stuff, it kind of taught you about business a little bit.
That's right.
And all of us as business owners, you learn from your mistakes, and that's a good thing. And also you learn from your successes, and you take, when you go into another business, even if you work for somebody else's business, you take a lot of those lessons with you, right?
Always learn.
Absolutely. Always learn. And you're married?
That's right. Shannon Lagrange, my wife.
Shannon Lagrange. I've met her. Very sweet lady. And y'all have 2 kids?
That's right. Aiden and Reese.
Yeah. And how old are they?
17 and 22.
It's almost the same ages as mine. I got 17-year-old twins and a 20-year-old. 20 is of today. So shout out. Happy birthday, Trevor. I know you don't listen, but it's okay. He says it's, when he was little, he'd say it was cringy to listen to me podcast, but whatever. Now you got some hobbies that you like to do outside of when you're not roasting. That's and right. Doing all those things. Tell me about that.
I like to bowl. Recently got back into bowling after about a 20-year break.
Yeah.
Got a league we do at All-Star Lanes, and it's going pretty good.
Yeah.
300
How about
year.
that? Yeah. That's freaking awesome. Do y'all get rings when you do that?
We do. Rings and plaques.
No kidding. And do y'all have to have like proof and all that of the 300? When you shoot a hole in one in golf, you usually have to have some kind of proof, or some of these bigger clubs or whatever won't believe you. But y'all just turn in a scorecard, I guess.
Well, it has to be bowled during a league or a tournament.
There you go.
And so it was during a league.
So if I go and I'm not in a league and I bowl 300,
don't mean anything. No.
Doggone. I got to join a league then. That's what it is, William. I got to join.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, but the problem is I don't know if I could bowl a 300. So we might be in a bind there. Now, you're in the coffee business, and this is something that has been a process for you, to say the least. You didn't start out, making coffee. You actually have always kind of had a love of making different let's just say mixing ingredients to make a final product. And how did that start with you?
For the coffee, it started with, I didn't grow up drinking coffee. I didn't like it. It always had that burnt, bitter taste.
Now you're in the coffee company.
Now I'm in the company, and never thought I'd be here.
Mm-hmm.
But a friend of mine introduced me to some fresh roasted coffee.
Yeah.
It wasn't burnt, wasn't bitter. I was like, this is what coffee's supposed to taste like. And I started enjoying coffee. And over time, since I've brewed beer and did wine, I rolled it into doing coffee and bought all the equipment I needed, and here we are.
Wow. And you started out with beer.
Yep.
You got to be a patient guy to brew beer, because I've always had, you used to buy these brew kits when I was younger. Yeah, they're probably horrible. But at one point you come on TV and it'd say, hey, $19.99, get your own brew kit. And it'd look like a little little, I think it was shaped like a beer
mug,
can, a mug or
I
something.
had that one, Mr.
Yeah.
Beer.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, I'm going to brew my own beer. Then I got it and I read the instructions and it said you got to wait like a freaking year for the yeast to rise.
30 days.
Yeah. It seemed like a year. And anything over about 5 minutes, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't have to wait that long. So I brewed it for 5 minutes and tasted it.
Horrible, huh?
Yeah, it was awful.
Even after waiting a month, it's still horrible. Trust me.
So you started out that way, and how did that go? How did the beer process go for you?
Beer did good. I got up when I met my wife. I had about 4 kegs in the closet, along with about 60 cases of beer, and I was just making more than I could drink. So I was giving them away a lot.
Really?
Yep.
I wish I'd have known you back then, brother.
She was like, "What am I walking into?"
Yeah, this dude.
This dude.
He's got 60 cases of beer in his closet. And then you went to wine for a little while? Okay.
Did wine. She wasn't a beer drinker. She enjoyed wine, and
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, we'll do something we both enjoy."
Yeah. How did that go?
It went real good.
Yeah?
And making one Amarone, I guess is how you pronounce it. And
Yeah.
that was our favorite one, and we still drink that one to this day.
No kidding. So you still peter around with doing wine and stuff
Well,
like
we'll
that?
buy them. We'll buy that one.
I got you. And so eventually that led to what we're here to talk about today, which is your coffee French Settlement Roasting Company. And tell me kind of how that started. Give me the story of the coffee and what made you get into the actual grinding process and roasting process of what you do.
Well, it started as a hobby once I realized that not all coffee could taste bad when you fresh roast it, and just the taste difference.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I want to start getting in a little bit more into this.
Yeah.
And
you were
then-
working at a plant at that time, right?
Still am.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Yep. And I hadn't really done too much with the coffee at the time, but another guy started working there, and he got me into cold brewing coffee.
Okay.
And since it's the way it's brewed is cold brew, it don't necessarily have to be cold. You can put it in the microwave or whatever.
Right.
But it's not getting that hot temperature on the coffee.
Yeah.
And that a lot of that takes away the bitterness too.
Oh, I got
And I
you.
said, imagine what the cold brew would taste like with fresh roasted beans.
Yeah.
How much smoother that would be.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we got to where we are. So I bought a little small roaster, did some, just enough for me and him and my wife, and he enjoyed it. He was like, man, this is really good. And
Yeah.
before you know it, he told a few people, and I couldn't keep up on that little bitty roaster I had. So,
Right.
so I upgraded.
Yeah.
Then more of his friends wanted it, and more of the guys at work wanted it. And before you know it, I outgrew that roaster.
Yeah.
So then I bought this huge roaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be the forever roaster. This will last me forever. And about maybe a month later, I already outgrew it. I can't keep up on that one now.
Come on.
Yep. So it's time to upgrade again.
Yeah, and let me tell y'all, I've had several different blends of French Settlement Roasting Company coffee, and it's just unbelievable, y'all. Obviously I'm a local coffee drinking guy. There's certain places I refuse to ever drink coffee, no matter how thirsty I am for it. And I'm one of these 2 cups a day guy. I drink one in the mornings, and then if I'm dragging about 2 o'clock, I'll drink me another one. Won't go past that though, because I'll be up all night long if it's after 2. I mean, even if it's 2:05. 2:05, I'm up all night. It's crazy, William. So I'll have that 2 o'clock cup too. And the first time that I tried French Settlement Roasting Company coffee, I'm telling y'all, it was fire. It was good. Just a bold taste to it. I wish I could remember which flavor I actually tried to start with. Off the top of my head, I can't think.
I want to say it was the Colombian.
It was the Colombian. That is what it was. And it was just unbelievable. Just a good, really good, rich taste to it. So if you have not tried it, we're going to tell you how you can go about getting some of the best coffee, definitely in Livingston Parish, but I would say all over the world, is French Settlement Roasting Company. Now, you mentioned you didn't even really like coffee to start with. And it's funny how life works in business, in that a lot of business owners, they're in a field that initially they never saw themselves in. You had mentioned you're a bowler, and after 20 years you kind of got back into that. But when you were 12 years old, you wanted to be a bowler. You didn't, you certainly didn't say, I want to be a coffee roasting guy. Now, we know that there's challenges with any business, right? Whether you're podcasting, whether you're owning a restaurant, but you wouldn't think, being on the outside, y'all, that there's so much involved in opening like a roasting company, a coffee company. and the ability to access, markets in which you can sell your product. Tell me a little bit about kind of when you first started in the red tape that maybe you didn't realize you'd run into with that.
So when I first started, it was just out of the house and just doing it as a hobby. But as you grow, and we're growing a lot faster than I expected, just the red tape involved with you can't do it in your house anymore once you try to get it in the stores.
Yeah.
So you need permits and buildings that are commercially zoned and whatnot.
Right.
And just trying to find those buildings, and especially with the real estate these days.
Oh, it's tricky, man. Yeah. I mean, and it's not just of course, everybody knows the residential market. It's hard to find a house right now. The inventory isn't what it used to be. Even if the interest rates were zero, it's hard to find a house right now. Unless you buy something brand new and build. And any business that you start, you have expenses. In your case, you had to get roasters. You said, I had a roaster and I had to upgrade that roaster, and then I had to upgrade. Now I need to upgrade again. And of course, when you're talking about commercial buildings and stuff like that, they're much like residential. They're kind of hard to come across right now. So that was some red tape that when you told me that story, I'm like, I never would have thought that you run into that, but something that you definitely run into in your business. Now, let's talk about your coffee specifically. And I have mentioned already the great taste that it has. You don't just throw things together and make a great coffee. You can actually make a horrible coffee that way, probably. So first of all, when you were first testing your ingredients and you were, I'd imagine you were sitting there and you kind of playing with things and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. How did it go at the beginning? Would you taste it and you were like, oh, this is awful. And then it tastes too bold or it tastes too rich or whatever. And you kind of pull things out. How did that process go before you perfected what you're doing?
There was a little bit of trial and error.
Yeah.
But not as much as I thought it would be.
Really?
I guess I just have a knack for it.
Yeah.
And it started working out. I think I messed up maybe the first 2 batches. Mm-hmm. And after that, it just got better and better and better from there.
Really?
I wouldn't say they are what they are now back then, but it's definitely improved.
And would your wife be like your taste tester?
Absolutely. Yeah. She was always a coffee drinker, and she loved it.
Oh, I bet she did. Yeah, that was. I'd have been your taste tester for the beer. I'd have been all over that. Oh, William, this needs a little bit more of this. I need another case.
That's kind of what kept me going, because the more I did and the more I had to share, the more good comments I have.
Right. Very good. And so let's talk about the process of roasting real quick, and how would one go about it from the start? I mean, one day you just sat down and you said, I think I'm going to try to roast some coffee. Take me through the process of how you learned.
Oh, lots of YouTube videos, lots of reading books. There's several known authors out there that have a lot of information.
Really?
And it talks a lot about the chemistry of it. So at first I was like, I don't really want to know all that kind of part.
Yeah.
I just want to start roasting.
That's a lot of information.
So I'm more of a trial and error kind of person, not breaking down all the different things that go along with it.
Right.
But then once I started getting the trial and error and the process done, then I started going back and reading those things.
And how long does it take, like, to roast coffee? Is that, with beer, we mentioned it takes like 30 days. Wine, the longer the better. What's the story with coffee?
So to roast a batch of coffee is about roughly 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it has about a 4-day degassing process.
Degassing. Tell me about that.
That's just where all the CO2 from the coffee comes out.
Okay.
So if you ever get a bag like this, and you, like at the store, it'll start swelling up. If they put it right into the bag and seal it, it'll degas in the bag, and that's when you get those blown up bags.
Really?
Yep. And I don't like the bags that look that way, so I let them sit out for about 4 days, and then I bag them.
Oh, I see. There's your little process right there. And what would happen if you made the coffee? So it's okay if you make it or you roast it and then you drink it right there, or does it have to go through that 4 days only if you bag it?
You can.
Yeah.
Drink it right away, and I have.
Yeah.
and it's still good.
Is it?
But they say the taste does change, but it doesn't change enough for me to notice the big difference.
Right.
I don't have that refined palate where people can taste like some of the notes I have.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's supposed to taste like blueberries and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really pick up all of those. I just know that this one tastes different than that one.
Right. I know. Look, I went to a wine tasting one time, and I'm not a big wine drinker, but my wife likes wine, and so we go to this wine tasting thing, and you're supposed to pair it with certain things, and it tastes, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I drink it with cheese or with. I drink this with cheese and pizza. It don't matter to me. but I do get it that some people do have those palates. They can absolutely differentiate. So ingredients are important, I would imagine. You know, whether you got a pizza place or you've got a hamburger joint or you've got a coffee roasting company. I would imagine your ingredients play a big role in the quality, not only the quality of your coffee, but also the taste.
That's right. And I only buy organic beans.
Yeah.
And a lot of people seem to enjoy that. It does taste different and smoother than other coffees I've had. So maybe that plays a role.
Yeah.
Between that and I don't over roast. I don't burn the beans. Yeah. And it's always fresh because you're local. So right now, on a small scale like I am, you're always getting it fresh.
Yeah, that's right. And and I can tell you can taste it. You can taste the quality, the difference in quality. And I think some of that, as you mentioned, comes from the fact that you're still smaller compared to, you know, I don't even want to mention any names, but think of a big coffee company and you're not that size. And so, I would imagine it helps you pay a little more attention to your quality.
That's right.
You're not producing in mass, or that size mass.
And being able to personally do it, and I have my own process and my own controls. I've been to a big coffee and roasting company recently, and I watched them do it, and they don't have the computers hooked up to it. They basically just hit go. They time it on their watch, and they'll come back 20 minutes later and dump it. And I'm like, you're not going to pay attention to that or listen to anything? And they're like, nope, we just let it go. I was like, alrighty then.
Wow, just let it go.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, and we were talking a little bit off camera, and you had mentioned, the process that these bigger companies go through. They have to go through probably because they are mass producing at such a high level. But you do lose quality when you do that a lot of times. And they look for consistency. And so they intentionally do some things. Kind of let's talk about that.
Yeah, a lot of them intentionally over roast it to a little bit on the dark side where it's burnt, because no matter what bean you're using, you're always going to get that same flavor when you go that high with the roast.
Yeah.
Burn is burnt. So
yeah.
And to be consistent worldwide, you have to do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're producing it at such a high level and you're global. That's what's going to happen. But so if you ever go to one of those other companies, which hopefully after this podcast you never do, but if you ever do, and the coffee tastes burnt a little bit, that's why.
Or bitter. That's
or
where
bitter.
comes from.
And there is a large coffee manufacturer that I'm aware of, think globally, that every time I've ever had it, it tasted very bitter. Very bitter. Doesn't matter whether I got the medium roast, the medium dark, whatever. It was very, very bitter, and I had no idea that was why. So that was something I learned.
And the freshness plays a big part of it.
Yeah, a huge part. I've actually had coffee that did not stay fresh, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things, and we got this bag right here. If you're listening to the podcast, you won't see the bag, so you need to go to the YouTube version, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But even down to your packaging, which is, to me, huge. It is your handshake. It is, hello, this is French Settlement Roasting Company. Pleased to meet you. It's nice. You have a nice gold foil bag here, but you also have a pull tab that you can pull off instead of having to take scissors and actually cut, which for us ADD guys like me, we hate. We end up biting it and pulling it off with our teeth, which my dentist loves. But you also have a zipper built in to it, which is a big thing. And I can't tell you, William, the convenience of being able to just pull that tab, open it up. It's easy to open. It's not one of these vacuum sealed from big, larger companies. Coffees that are so vacuum sealed they look like a brick, and you're struggling to open them. I mean, it's not easy. You make the process easy. This is not a cheap packaging.
No, the package is a little more expensive, but I like the presentation of it. It looks good. The convenience.
I do too. And it is a sign of a smart business person, because a lot of people, when they look to cut expense on any business, and here's a tip for you business owners out there, they always start with the packaging, and they think, oh, well, we can stick it in this bag for 10 cents cheaper, so we're going to do that. But it also makes a statement. And the statement is, I have pride in what I do. And that's what that packaging told me when I first met William. He was kind enough to bring me some to try. And the first thing he did was hand me that bag. And my thought was, wow, this guy cares about what he does. Also, you have a little, and I don't know what you call this, but a vent maybe?
Yep,
or
air vent, degas and valve.
Degas and valve in the bag. So, and how does that work?
So, like, if we did put the beans in there and they still have some of that gassing process to go through, it'll just let the air out, but it doesn't let air in.
Excellent. So even down to that, y'all took some time with it. And so I'm going to kind of show this to the camera. So go to the YouTube version if you're listening, after you listen, and you can see, and we're going to put some pictures online of these bags as well, because this impressed me. This is the impression that was made to me before I even tasted it, right? So I knew once I got this package that, God, I bet this coffee is going to be good, just based off of the packaging. And of course, you can't judge everything based off of that. But when you're a local company and your packaging looks as nice as French Settlement Roasting Companies, pretty much guarantee the coffee is going to be good. I can tell you that. Now, I'm going to tell you what else impressed me about this package. Y'all are going to love this. This is my favorite part. So as I was reading it, I was looking down on it. I saw several things that really caught my eye. First was 100% organic, which we talked about. That's probably a big part of the taste. There's other things that play into that, but being organic, definitely just a fresher tasting coffee. Then I saw you have a flag and a salute on there. You're a military guy.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Tell me about the branch of service you served in.
I was in the Air Force. I was overseas the whole time. I started my career in Europe.
Yes.
And I was in England for half of the time. And then from there, I got sent to Asia. I stayed in Japan for the second half of my career.
Love it. Love it. And we love supporting our military and our former military here in Livingston Parish, Baton Rouge, all these surrounding areas that listen to this show. We love that. So you're supporting, former military there as well. And then what impressed me, you have your QR code on your packaging. Very smart. Look. I am not the world's greatest QR code using guy, but there's a lot of ladies out there that use QR codes. Yeah. And Cindy Overton, who helps me with some stuff I do, and also is the CEO of Real Life Real Crime, actually, she's a big QR code proponent, I guess you could say, and opened my eyes to the importance of QR codes. But that told me that you're a business person that's future looking, and so I like that. And then I got to the slogan, and y'all, I almost fell out my chair when I read it, because number one, companies, in my opinion, a lot of businesses do not put enough emphasis on their slogans. Slogans are huge. Think about major companies worldwide, and I'll bet you can quote the slogans for most of them. And the reason is they stand out, they stick out, and they tell you a little bit of the personality of the company. Now, your wife came up with the slogan, correct?
That's correct.
And so I'm gonna read her version, and then he has a version that he was gonna put on there, and we're gonna let him tell his version too. But y'all listen to this. It's French Settlement Roasting Company, made in Louisiana. I'm loving it already. And then it says, "May your coffee kick in before reality does." Perfect. And no one on the face of the earth can speak that more than me, because I've got to have my coffee first thing in the morning or I can't deal. It's just that simple. And I have been in a situation where I had no coffee and woke up and I thought I had some left, and yeah, not a good thing. But love that slogan. But you were going to go with another slogan originally. Tell me about that.
Yeah, she wanted to keep it a little more tame, so we went with that one. The one I had something to do with jail. I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was something along the lines of, I I'd rather drink my coffee than do 15 to life.
Yeah, which would fit perfect with Bloody Angola.
That's right.
So, I think you did the right thing going with hers. But shout out to Miss Shannon for coming up with the slogan of the year, in my opinion. And look, locally owned, y'all, not only made in Louisiana, but made in French Settlement, Livingston Parish, our largest listening base by far. So it's made right here at home, y'all. So you want to support someone like that. Let's talk about the advancements in coffee for a second. And, back when, I don't know, I'm old, William, but back when I was first kind of moving along in the world and getting away from mom and dad, and I wanted to make my own coffee, I actually was making it in a steel pot, and it had the strainer deal that would go on the top, and you would pour the hot water through. It would go through the coffee. I forget what you call those.
Is that a mocha pot?
Yeah, it kind of is similar, but I mean old timey. And you would basically, it had a strainer at the top, and people are going to freak out right in the comments what it's called, but it had a strainer in the top that was metal. You put the coffee grinds in that. Then you would put another top on it, and you would actually boil the water, and you would pour the water over it, and it would go through the pot. And I cannot believe I'm drawing a blank on the name, but that's how I started. Now, fast forward many, many years, and now they have like K-Cups, and they have the everybody wants everything quick. Yep. From content on, look at TikTok now, y'all. I mean, everybody wants it in 2 seconds. They want to flip through that thing. I'm not a huge TikTok fan, but hey, I got to move with the times too. And we do TikToks every now and then because of that. That's something that I'm sure you've had to kind of think about, and you're like, K-Cups, what are we going to do about K-Cups? Because everybody has, what do they call the Keurigs and stuff like that. So do you have a solution for that?
I started to go the K-Cup route, and mainly I tried just so I can start giving samples instead of a whole bag.
Yeah.
And it just time consuming without the right equipment,
being
small, and it just
right.
So is what I ended up doing was just ordering a whole bunch of the reusable K-Cups.
Yes.
Or I sell them those at the markets.
Yes.
And so when somebody said, do you sell K-Cups? I'll be like, no, but I do sell the reusable ones.
So tell me about the reusable ones for those that may not be familiar. Is it just like a K-Cup that you can continuously add coffee grinds to?
Yep. It's got a metal strainer.
Yeah.
They also sell paper filters that you can put inside of them to get a little bit more of the stuff out of it.
Yeah.
And you just dump it out after you're done and just refill it.
There you go.
And it cuts down on the waste. Being organic, it cuts down on the plastic waste and whatnot.
Yeah. And it's cheaper, y'all.
Yeah, cheaper.
You ever price K-Cups? They're just like William said, it's a more expensive process for him. Well, as a manufacturer, anytime you're manufacturing coffee or anything else, you've got to pass that expense on. And that's why K-Cups look, trust me, I go to the grocery store and would buy those K-Cups, and I'm like, man, $9 for 12 or whatever it is, and so the reusable is more appealing to me, actually.
Well, I was using the
save some money.
The ones I was using, the plastic ones, they also had a filter built into it, so there was a little bit more. But I always like the good quality stuff if I'm gonna put it with my product.
Imagine that, and I could have told you that from the packaging.
And so just the empty K-Cup was about 60 to 75 cents a piece.
Yeah.
So once you add the coffee, it just couldn't sell it enough to where people would buy it for $2 a piece to make a profit. Yeah,
that's right. And we're going to talk a little bit about profits and cost and stuff like that. That some things that people may not realize with coffee. But I say all that to say you can get reusable K-Cups. And is there a website you can order that on, or would we just have to catch you at a market, or how does that work?
You can catch me at a market. You can look me up on French Settlement Roasting Company on Facebook. I always post what markets I'm going to be at next.
Yep.
You can also go, if you scan the label, it'll take you to the website, fsroastingco.com.
Yep.
You can also get there from the Facebook page.
There you go. So you can go to all those spots, and you can get those K-Cups, and they are really convenient. I need to get some from you, because I have a Keurig here that I would love to have some of those K-Cups, and that would definitely enable all the people that come on this show to try your coffee, because believe me, it's like a coffee retail outlet over here. When people come in, they're like, "Oh, you got coffee? I got a little station over there." We high cotton over here sometimes. Now, another thing about this packaging that you showed me, and we're going to talk about the label real quick, because you've got kind of a subtle, a very subtle ode, or I guess you could say a tip of the hat to your history. And it's actually in the cup, and it would be impossible for me to show y'all on camera. So I'm going to make a Facebook post and actually blow it up to where people can see it. But you've got the coffee cup there, and then you've got the little plate that the coffee cup's sitting on, and there's something written there.
Yeah, right below it, it looks like a shadow if you look at it, and most people never even notice it. But that shadow says Lagrange is on it.
Yeah. So a little tip of the hat to your family business that you grew up in. And that's pretty dang cool, man. I love that. So that also tells me you put an extreme amount of thought into every aspect of this packaging, even including the label.
Yep.
Pretty awesome, man. Shout out to you for that. He even made a blend, y'all, and it's called, they're fans of Bloody Angola, and they made a blend, and it's called the Bloody Angola blend. And he's got 142 years in making underneath it. And then if you flip it to the bottom, it says it's to die for. And I love that. So look, the Bloody Angola blend is amazing. If you'd like to get a bag, you can get in touch with me, and I'll get in touch with William, or you can reach out to them on their website. And they will definitely sell you as many as you want, I would imagine, of the Bloody Angola blend. And this is a limited edition only for Bloody Angola fans.
That's correct.
They're the only ones that get this. So, but just a phenomenal flavor. And let's talk about flavors real quick. You have more than just Bloody Angola blend. Tell me some about the different flavors you have.
We up to 13 or 14 different flavors.
Yeah.
I try to get one from all of the countries that we
know.
So you got your Colombians, your Tanzania, your Peru, Ethiopian, a lot of them that usually are more expensive when you buy them.
Right.
But we try to price everything the same. And that way you might make less on one and more on another, but it'll balance out, but it gives everybody a chance to try stuff they normally couldn't buy.
Wow, that's perfect. And what would be so let's pick two. And let's just say the Ethiopian and the Colombian. Mm-hmm. What would be the taste difference in those?
The Ethiopian's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
And if you have that refined palate, they say you can taste the blueberry, strawberry notes, a fruitiness flavor to it.
Ooh, that sounds good.
The Colombian's more bold, so you're going to taste the chocolates or the dark wood kind of flavor.
That sounds good too. Very good. Yeah. And so obviously and there's bean differences here. I would imagine the beans that you use are different. They come from these different areas of the world. How did you go about when you started your journey with coffee? How did you go about finding the beans? I mean, it ain't like you can go to Carter's and get coffee beans. Well, you might can, but you know what I'm saying, in bulk for what you make and all of that. How did you learn how to do that?
Well, a lot of trial and error. When I first started, like almost everything else, I went to Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon has everything. So
yeah, they do.
And I didn't like the way they came out. It was small. They were expensive.
Yeah.
And the more you buy, the cheaper it is. And now I'm getting to where I'm buying big bulk.
Right.
To get there, some of the books I read and the places online I watched on YouTube, they kind of give you ideas of places to go.
Right.
And then just doing a bunch of Google searches.
Very good. And so a lot of pride there. And I didn't know before I talked to you and met you that there was a whole difference in the taste of coffee from area of the world to area of the world. That's so right. From Ethiopia to Brazil, you're going to have two different tasting coffees. I didn't really realize that. So they've got 13 different flavors, 14 different flavors to choose from. And if someone's interested in so do you ever get people at like the and we'll talk about the markets that you do. Do you ever get people say, well, this is what I like from, I don't want to say names, but I like a medium dark roast is what I typically like. And then you can make a kind of a suggestion.
That's right.
A
lot of times based on what they tell me, and usually we have 2 or 3 samples up.
Yeah.
So I can point them to which one I think they'll like, or I tell them to try both.
Yeah.
So usually they like the one that I suggested.
Yeah.
If they like one of those other brands more in the darker end, I tell them to go with the Colombian.
Yeah. There you go.
So
that's a good like middle of the road one.
It is, and it's one of the more popular ones. And if you like a little bit lighter than that, Honduras would be the next one I'd recommend.
Okay. And because I drink my coffee black, no cream, no nothing, straight up, I guess.
And so on that same note, at the market, there's a lot of people that came and said, well, I've been to Costa Rica or I've been to Honduras, so I want to try this one.
Yeah.
And they'll try it and they'll be like, whoa, that's exactly what I remember while I was there.
Really?
Like, awesome. So I must be doing something right.
Yeah, you are doing something right, my man. You're killing it. As a matter of fact, let's talk about that a little bit. When you obviously we talked a little bit about when you started, and it was just kind of for friends and, hey, try this, see what you think. Your wife's all hopped up on coffee, running around the house and doing her thing. At what point did you kind of realize, oh man, this is, I want to start going out there and doing markets and I'm going to need a bigger roaster. Like, was it pretty quick into the process?
Very quick into the process.
Really?
Way faster than I thought.
No kidding.
Like, I never planned on this being a business, but then
Yeah.
when I realized I couldn't keep up, I must be onto something good.
Yeah.
And so I go to my first market and it almost sells out. And I
Yeah.
was like, psh, I can't make enough to do this every time, not fast enough.
Right.
So then I had to upgrade. I didn't have a choice. And then just the comments that all the customers leave, and they'll put them on Facebook or text me, and I've never had a bad comment. It's always good. It's like, it just keeps me doing it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we all need that feedback. And I tell people all the time, it's the same thing with podcasting. We read every single review people leave. And so, it's an interesting world, whether it's coffee or it's podcasting or whatever. You never going to be able to, I guess, make everyone happy. Everybody's different. Everybody has different tastes. And all of that, but feedback's important, and it's how we learn. And in your case, it's all been positive. So in your case, it's just been keeping the gas on the fire, right? And letting you know, hey, you're headed down a good path here, brother.
Well, like Shannon made a bunch of gift baskets for the holidays for Christmas.
Yep. Yes.
And it had a little packet of coffee in it. A lot of kids would buy them for their teachers.
Yeah.
So some teachers came back and they ordered coffee, about 2 or 3 big bags of it.
Yeah.
And they left feedback saying that they don't even like coffee, but they tried this and they drinking it black.
Yeah.
So to go from not drinking coffee at all to drinking it black says a lot.
Oh yeah, that says a lot, a whole lot, because it's got to be good coffee to drink it black, because you're not altering that flavor. Look, you go to the grocery store now. And my wife's famous for this. She will get, the creams with like, I don't know, they make them in 20 different flavors now. And sometimes it's like, Christmas cookie and butterscotch and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, you can't taste the coffee no more.
Well, that's the point. Anything to disguise the real flavor.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But I say that because she got a hold to the Bloody Angola and she drank it black.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and that woman don't drink no black coffee. But she's like, this is good just on its own. So that tells you the quality and the taste of that. And I'll tell you another funny story since you bring it up, and it involves Wendy Chapman, my wife. So your wife makes coffee bombs, and this is a great story, y'all. You'll love this. So my wife had won, I think she won at a drawing or something, that maybe Cindy was giving away some coffee, or somehow she got a hold to those coffee bombs. I can't remember how it was, but she brought them home. Oh, I remember now. It was one of our friends had some and gave Wendy some or something. But she comes home and she puts them on the counter. And at the end of the day, this is a Saturday, she comes in and I'm in the kitchen, the dining room, and I'm doing some work or something because I'm like a total workaholic. And she comes in there and she says, did you eat those coffee bombs? And I said, no. And she was mad, y'all. She was mad. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't even know she had them. And she says, you ate those coffee bombs. Hey, look, she was all but accused me. And I'm like, I did not eat the coffee bombs. And she is like almost to the point of chewing me out about these coffee bombs. Well, come to find out, my daughters ate the coffee bombs. So she found out, she was so mad that those coffee bombs got ate, but they were good, my daughter said. And your wife actually makes those and has made them at such a high rate that she couldn't keep up. Is that correct?
Yeah, we were taking orders, and she was like, you need to stop taking orders, because they take a long time to make. It's all by hand. We don't have machines to do it. Yeah. And she fills them up with the creamer and different flavors, French vanilla or Andes mints. And you put them in the bottom of your coffee mug, and you pour your black coffee on top, and it has everything you need in it.
Yeah. And another side note to that, about fast forward about 3 weeks later, my wife comes to the office, and there were some coffee bombs sitting right by the front door. And she saw them, and she said, "I'm taking those coffee bombs." And I said, "You can't have them. Why not? They're Cindy Overton's." And she said, "Well, I'll take them from Cindy." I said, "Well, that's between you and Cindy, but I ain't letting you have them because she's going to think I ate them just like you did." So the coffee bombs are a hit. Let's say that. Miss Shannon, you did a good job there. And it is a good thing in that in your business, you're branching out, and it just grows itself, doesn't it? You start out, you want to do just coffee. Now you got your wife making gift baskets. She's making coffee bombs. Everybody's getting involved. It's crazy how it grows, ain't it?
Yeah, spoons and shirts. I never expected to have shirts made. But.
Yes, shirts and awesome looking shirt. I'm sure y'all can see the logo on camera right now. But yeah, you never even thought that would happen. Before you know it, you're going to be selling merch. You're going to have T-shirts and hats and all kinds of things, man. Look, I'm giving him ideas now. He's
shot glasses.
Shot glasses.
Shot
Love
of
it.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Espresso, right?
See, I'm telling you, he's an entrepreneur, man. You just come up with these ideas. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the other, I guess it's not really swag, but it's neat little things that have grown out of your business. And one of those is, I would just call it a handy dandy, y'all. It's because that's what it is. And before I kind of show y'all this, one of the things that has drove me nuts with bags of coffee is that you constantly got to measure out how much you're putting into the filter before you make your coffee, unless it's individually done like you get at a hotel room or something. So, it's not that big of a pain in the butt, but again, to an OCD guy, it is. And you have just about the most awesome measuring spoon I've ever seen. And it is, again, anything William does is high quality, right? It's not cheap stuff. It's not cheap looking. And so we're going to talk a little bit about it, and I'm going to show it on camera. Again, go to the YouTube version if you're listening, and you'll see this, and we'll probably put this on social as well. But what would you call this? Just a measuring spoon, a wooden measuring spoon?
Measuring coffee utility spoon.
Oh, I like it.
Sounds good.
Now it does sound very good. And it has French Settlement Roasting Company, the number, and also the website address. But it measures out in 1 tablespoon increments, which is a tablespoon. Is that about what you're going to need for a cup, basically?
That's about what you need for one of those refillable K-cups.
Okay, there you go.
Between 1 and 2 of those.
Okay, so there you go. And it also has his logo burnt into it. Very high quality, but there's a little slot in it. And so, again, me and my wife have these lovely and I actually texted
That's
you
right.
when we were talking about this because,
what is this for?
Yeah, because I said it was for one thing and she said it was for another. So, William, what is this slot for?
That's to help keep some of the air out of the bag. So.
And I want you to show kind of how that works.
Right. So yeah, you can fold a bag like that, and then we'll do it from this side. And then you just slide that on there. And I'll just keep
How about that?
Folded and
How about that? Look, it's the little things. Y'all, it's the little things. I thought that was like genius, and it's just a little slot that keeps that air out of there. Again, if you're a guy like me and you open bags with your teeth and you and you pull half the zipper off when you do that, this is your lifesaver right here. This is going to keep it from prematurely going bad on you or whatever, getting too much air to it where I don't know, I guess it goes stale, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, it'll prolong the life of the coffee.
Yeah, so that's what that little slot's all about. But it's very heavy duty, made out of wood. And what I like about it, you throw it in a drawer with all your other spatulas and everything, and automatically recognizable as your coffee spoon. Yeah. Yep. So another thing I like about this, a local guy makes it.
That's correct. Mark from.
It's TAMARK, Tamark Products, I'm sure, being that his name is Mark. Mark Sides produced this for you. Tell me the story of how you ended up with this.
So I ended up with that. It was during the holidays, and his wife had ordered a bunch of coffee and the gift baskets that Shannon was making.
Yep.
So I was like, I'll personally deliver these to him. So I drove him over there, and I'm unloading everything, and he said, I have something to show you in the back. I was like, oh, what could this be? All right. He said, I got a present for you. I said, okay, let's go see. So I get there, and he hands me that. He said, I made this for you. What do you think? I said, that looks awesome. So he's like, let's see how they go. So I ordered about 10 of them from him and went from there. And before you know it, about a week later, I ordered 10 more.
Love it, man. It is. It's really cool. And you can get those online as well, I would imagine.
That's correct.
Okay. So you can go to F as in Frank, S as in Sam, Roasting Company, and it's just CO, not the full word. So fsroastingco.com, and you can I would imagine you have a section there they can click on a tab to order different products, these spoons being one of them.
So who won out of you and your wife figuring out what
actually my wife was correct.
What'd you think?
I thought it was to reseal the zipper. She's always right, William. It seems like it's painful. So she'll listen to this episode and she'll be like, I told you. Yes. There's only one Wendy Chapman. There's no doubt about it. So, and I say that with love. Now, we've talked about kind of everything you've done to grow, and one of the other awesome moves that you made you rely on as a way of marketing your coffee is the markets that you go to. You are very active in the farmers markets and things like that, and I don't know if you call them shows, but these events that occur in and around this area. So we're going to talk about those because you got a busy event season coming up here.
Oh yeah, well, it stays busy. We try to leave one weekend a month open.
Really? So there's that many going on? No kidding. Wow. And I've noticed just in Livingston Parish the past few years the farmers markets have really popped up several different places throughout the parish. So I'm going to shout these out because at this point you're wanting two things. You're wanting coffee from French Settlement Roasting Coffee, and you're wondering, how can I get it? So we're going to tell you some ways in which you can get it coming up. You'll be February 25th at the Food Trucks and Craft Market. And where is that located?
That's in Prairieville on Old Jefferson Highway. In
Prairieville. And then you will be on March 4th at Marche in the Park. And where is that located?
That's in Walker.
That's in Walker. So shout out Wildcats from your denim.
There you go.
Yellow Jacket side. On March 11th, you'll be at the St. Gabriel Farmers Market, Chatsworth Plantation. Oh, that'll be a nice one.
It is nice.
I may go to that one.
We went to the last one they had. Unfortunately, it rained, but it was still very nice.
Very good. So go check, and obviously in St. Gabriel. And on March 18th, March 18th, you'll be at the Easter Egg Extravaganza. And where is that located?
That's in Gonzales.
In Gonzo. So you'll be in Gonzales for that one. And on April 1st, you're back at Marche in the Park in Walker.
That's right.
On the 8th of April, you'll be at Frogs Farmers Market. And everybody knows where that's at, right there by Frogs, I guess, gas station and truck stop over there in, I just drew a total blank.
Was that Magnolia Bridge?
Yeah, Magnolia Bridge. Boom, 5100. See, normally Cindy'd be doing this part. So you'll be at Frogs right there on Magnolia Bridge. And then on April 15th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Big one.
That's going to be a big one. That's the Crawfish Festival.
Stock up on the coffee, my friend, and the K-Cups and these spoons because everybody's going to come. You're going to have a line of people. And look, this is what I want y'all to do. When you get the coffee, if you're at one of these markets and you heard it on this show, mention it. Tell William I heard you on Local Leaders, the podcast, and let him know that y'all listened and that's how you got the information on where he was going to be and all of that good stuff. It helps him to figure out if this marketing stuff he's doing works, and it makes me look good, y'all. I got to say that too. So, brother, all I can say is keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it. Your coffee is absolutely unbelievable, and I've been saying that way before he's been on this show. So y'all know I tell the truth, and I'm telling the truth on this. I just hope you keep growing and growing, man. You're doing everything the right way. You're killing it. Got your one thing I love about it, your wife totally supports you in it, to the point that you've had to hire someone to clean the house because he's got so busy, y'all, that she's got to help him at these markets. It's and so that was kind of a deal they had was, hey, if you're gonna have to hire someone to clean the house, you want me to go do these markets with you, and so yeah, they're just killing it, man. You're doing a great job. And one thing we always do here is we like to do fun facts. It kind of tells people who you are outside of your business. And we already covered one, which was when you were 12 years old, you wanted to be a bowling pro. And you're a heck of a bowler, obviously bowling 300s and stuff. Good job on that. But also I asked you if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And what did you answer to that?
Well, to just stay awake and not get tired. That way I can just keep doing what I do. I feel like I run out of time so many.
Yes. I tell people all the time, there's not enough hours in the day, and it sounds cliche, but honestly, for business owners, and especially, look, there was a time I was working 2 jobs. I had a full-time job, and then podcasting was kind of my side hustle and became my full-time hustle. But especially during that point, but heck, it's hard to keep up with now. I figured I'd have all this time once I did it full-time. I filled up those slots quick, You
stay busy.
Yeah, you stay busy. So keep doing that. And the first time we've ever had the ability to not get tired as a superpower. I love that. I love hearing those answers to that. So thank you for coming on. Keep doing what you're doing. We've been going 55 minutes now, and it seems like 5, doesn't it?
It does.
Goes fast, y'all. And if you want more information, let's shout out your Facebook real quick. And we already shouted out your website. So your Facebook you can just search Fresh Settlement Roasting Company,
That's
right?
Yep.
Yep. Search that on Facebook and give it a like. Share it with friends. So important to local businesses, y'all. Y'all have no idea how much that helps. Social media been a big part of your business. Agreed?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So another thing we're going to do in the comments of both the audio and video versions of this podcast, we're going to link everything we just said. So we're going to link the Facebook. We're going to link the website so that if you're driving or something like that, you don't have to write while you're driving. We don't want you doing that or pull over or anything. Just wait till you get home, scroll down. You'll see those links. Click it. Give this man a like on Facebook. Ex-military, local guy, just doing good, man. You're just killing it. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jim, for having me.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank all of you for listening, subscribing, following. We are blessed way more than we deserve over here. We just found out and actually just accepted an award for Livingston Parish New Business of the Year. Blown away and honored to have even been considered for that, but to win it was a dream come true, and just shows the support that y'all give us every single day. So that's an award for everybody that's listening. It's not a reflection of us. It's a reflection of you, the people that listen to our show and support us. So until next time, I'm Jim Chapman, reminding you, love your community, support local business just like French Settlement Roasting Company, and keep leading. Thank you very much.